Hey everybody, welcome to session 2 of Free, our study in Galatians. My name's Neil, I'm pastor of community life at Central Church. Hey, the fact that you're watching this right now means that session 1 wasn't an absolute disaster, so that's great. You got that going for you. So recently my brother-in-law Jay had an interesting experience. He was standing in line to pay at a dollar store, and the guy in front of him got all kinds of belligerent to the cashier because some coupon wasn't applied correctly. He got right in the cashier's face, pointing his finger, yelling, and threatening violence. And Jay had to step in and say, "Sir, I will pay you whatever it is that you feel like you've been shorted, but you've got to stop this now." And the guy wouldn't stop. He just was angry and belligerent and awful. Finally, someone threatened to call the police. My brother-in-law said, "If you don't stop, we're gonna walk outside and settle this in the parking lot." And that got the guy to calm down a little bit. The point is, conflict can be tough, but it's sometimes necessary, especially if the person who needs to be corrected is a Christian. If you see injustice or abuse or hypocrisy from a believer, it's actually the loving thing to do to confront that person, to correct them. The gospel requires that we speak the truth in love. Now, conflict can be tricky, and I can really talk a good game about how necessary conflict is and how we need to lovingly confront people. But I need to face the facts. Like, when it comes down to it, I have a hard time with conflict because I'm a recovering people pleaser. I'm an image manager. I want people to like me. I'm from friendly Manitoba. We don't do conflict well there because we're too nice. But the issue is, if we don't confront people when they're acting opposite of the gospel, we're actually not being loving at all. The loving thing to do is to confront people so that they can grow into the image of Christ. How about you? Maybe you find yourself in the same situation. Maybe you have a hard time with conflict. Like, if you've got a coworker who's a Christian and is just casually dropping F-bombs, do you ignore it or just, move on? If a person from church is telling a racist joke, do you try to change the subject to avoid the awkward? Or if your boss, who claims to be a follower of Jesus, is doing like shady business practices, what do you do? Do you find a new job? Like, how do you handle conflict? Galatians 2, the passage that you're about to read, Paul and Peter have a conflict. Paul actually confronts Peter because Peter found himself caught up in hypocrisy and legalism. Peter knew better, but he acted differently around a certain group of people, the Galatians, than he did around Jewish background believers. And he was acting in a way that was contradictory to the gospel. This week, I want you to be asking yourself a few questions. Do I need to make a stand for the gospel? Do I need to confront someone who is saying that they're a follower of Jesus but are not honoring Jesus? Or how can I take a personal position on an issue but maintain a posture of humility and grace and love? Have a great life group.